check once again and see if you can share the screen.
You can share me now?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So should I start?
Yeah, please go ahead. All the best.
Okay. Thank you.
Stage is yours.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Pallav. I'm a data scientist. I have a industry experience of 5+ years. Today, I'm going to try to give an overview of linear regression. So please bear with me for another, to be precise, 1 hour, 20 minutes. Okay. Is my screen clear? Everybody can review, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we believe everybody can see that.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
So, yep. So, let me tell you something about machine learning first. So, machine learning is actually a subset of artificial intelligence, and it actually provides stats tools to analyze the data, to visualize the data, to do future prediction, even forecasting of specific data. So there are various applications like you can say Netflix, and then self-driving cars by Tesla, so etc. So now coming to various types of machine learning algorithms. So machine learning algorithms are basically of like 3 types. Actually, it's 4 types, but then to be like exact, it's 3 types. Those are like supervised machine learning algorithm. There are another one which is semi-supervised machine learning, but then we won't cover that. Then there is unsupervised machine learning algorithm, and there is reinforcement learning. So if I have to say about supervised machine learning, like imagine like a teacher supervising a class. So the class already knows the correct answers, but learning process doesn't stop until the student learn the answer as well. This is the essence of supervised machine learning algorithms. Here, the algorithm learns from a training data set and makes predictions that are compared with the actual output values. If the predictions are not correct, then the algorithm is modified until it is satisfactory. This learning process continues until the algorithm achieves the required level of performance. Then it can provide the desired output values for any new outputs. I mean inputs, sorry. So this is all about supervised learning. Then if you have to again classify supervised learning, machine learning algorithm, there are basically of 2 types, that is classification and regression. So classification algorithms are used to predict or classify the categorical values, categorical like variables, such as like male, female, then true or false, spam, not spam, etc. So there are various I won't be explaining about classification machine learning algorithm. Those will be coming in our later part of our events. There is like there is KNN algorithms, random forest, decision tree, etc. And then comes the regression algorithm. So regression algorithm are used to predict continuous values of variables, like such as like price, salary, age, etc. So linear regression comes into regression category. So I will be explaining about linear regression today. Then comes the another type of algorithm, that is unsupervised machine learning algorithm. In this case, suppose there is no teacher for the class and the students are left to learn by themselves. So for unsupervised learning algorithms, there are no specific answers to be learned and there is no teacher. In this way, the algorithm doesn't figure out any output for input, but it explores the data. The algorithm is left unsupervised to find the underlying structure in the data in order to learn more and then more about the data itself. So then comes reinforcement machine learning algorithms. So basically, hypothetically, we can say that we can compare reinforcement with a student who learned from his own mistakes. So in reinforcement machine learning algorithm, means it learns from its own mistakes and improvise itself. So this is all about types of machine learning algorithms. So now let's start with our main topic, that is linear regression. So anybody have any idea on linear regression? Anyone wants to say anything? Anyone wants to ping? Please feel free. I'll give you another 1 minute. So any idea, anyone, about linear regression? What is it? Or do you guys know about, suppose say, do you guys know about straight line equation? Anyone? Oh yeah, Anvesh told, yeah, it's y is equal to mx plus b. Correct, you are right. That's correct. And Shreya says, give us a cause and effect relationship and tell us how one variable affects that. Oh, sure, Shreya, just bear with me for some time. Yes, it's deals, every algorithm deals with numerical. You cannot feed like non-numerical values to a machine learning algorithm. You have to convert. So it's basically a continuous variable. It cannot be like categorical. That is, say 0, 1, 1, 0. There is male, female, so like that. It cannot. Okay, so let's start. So yeah. So it's linear regression is one of the most and common regression technique in is linear regression. In this, we predict the outcome of the dependent variable based on the independent variable, and the relationship between the variables should be linear. So linear regression dependent variable should be of always continuous type. It cannot be categorical. So that's what. And then coming to there are, yeah. So basically there are two types of linear regression. There is simple linear regression and multiple linear regression. So simple linear regression is like a dependent variable depends only on a single independent variable. So that's it. So here, if you are confused with what is dependent and what is independent, so dependent is our the target variable from which we will be predicting, and then independent is the feature, or you can say the columns with the help of which you can find the y value, that is the target value. So now so the simple linear regression equation would be like y is equal to a0 plus a1x. So as someone said correctly, that is y is equal to mx plus b, that is straight line equation. So here we can say like y is the dependent variable, x is the independent variable, then a0 is the intercept, and a1 is the slope. I will be explaining you with a figure later on. And then comes the multilinear regression. In this form, the dependent variable is dependent on more than one independent variable. So here there will be multiple independent variables. Like here it says, like y is the dependent and x1, x2, xn, those are independent variables, and a1 are the coefficient of x. So remember that. Okay, now let's dig more into linear regression now. So a linear regression model's main aim is to find the best fit linear line and the optimal values of intercepts and coefficients such that the error is minimized. So remember that. And actually the error is the difference between the actual value and the predicted value. And the goal is to reduce the differences. So here in this diagram, X is our independent variable, which is plotted on the x-axis, and Y is the dependent variable, which is plotted on the y-axis. And black dots are the data points, that is the actual values. And B0 is the intercept, which is like here it's shown as 10, and B1 is the slope of the X variable. And the blue line, which is shown in the figure, I mean the graph, is the best fit line for us. So that is the predicted values lie on the blue line. So remember that. And the vertical distance between the data point and the regression line is known as errors or residual. So each data point has one residual, and the sum of all the differences is known as the sum of residuals or errors. So here, like I have said before, like linear regression performs a task to predict a dependent variable based on given independent variable. So the regression techniques finds out the linear relationship between X input and Y output. So here in the figure, X is the input and X is the input and work experience, and Y is the output, is the salary of a person. And the regression line is the best fit line. So, yeah. Remember, while training a model, we are given with two variables. That is like, if it's a simple linear regression algorithm. So there we are given a two variables. That is one independent variable that we can say as X, and the other one is the independent variable, that is Y. So when we train the model, it fits the best fit line to predict the value of Y for a given value of X. So the model gets the best regression fit line by finding the best value of A0 and A1. So here we have, if you have to find the best fit line, then you have to find various values of A0 and A1. So A0 would be the intercept and A1 would be the coefficient of X. So once we find the best A0 and A1 values, we get the best fit line. So yeah. And then let explain you this. So here we have the residual formula, that is the actual values. Actual value we can say as Y, and the predicted value, that is we can say as Y hat. So predicted value we will be finding out with the help of X and Y. And I will be showing you with an example later on. And then the squared will be the sum of actual minus predicted values squared. So that's it. So now you'll be wondering like how you can get, how you can update A0 and A1 to get a best fit line. So there you have to remember two terminologies, that is the cost function and gradient descent. So the cost function provides the best possible values for A0 and A1 to make the best fit line for data points. So yeah, anybody knows about cost function? Anyone wants to say anything? I will give 30 seconds. Okay. So supposing I only have to tell. Okay, fine. So yeah, so cost function is basically we do it by converting like the problem into a minimization problem to get the best values for A0 and A1. The error is minimized in this problem between the actual values and the predicted values. So we choose this function to minimize the error. Remember that. We then square the error difference and sum the square over all the data points. Then we divide by total number of data points. So then the produced value provides the average square error over all the data points. And we say the cost function as mean squared error. So which is a very important evaluation matrix for regression analysis. So remember this formula, it's very necessary. You don't have to, if you are like trouble with understanding this, just remember the formula. That is as I have said, it's the squared error difference and the sum. Then after that, we use sum over all the data points. I will explain you later. Don't panic. Okay. So now comes the gradient descent. So next important terminology to understand linear regression or to find value of A0 and A1. You have to know about gradient descent. So this is a method of updating A0 and A1 values to reduce the mean squared error. The idea behind this is to keep iterating the A0 and A1 values until we reduce the mean squared error to the minimum. So you imagine a pit in the shape of a U, okay? And you are standing at the topmost point in the pit. And then your objective is to reach the bottom of the pit. So there is a catch, okay? So you can only take a discrete number of steps to reach the bottom. If you decide to take 1 step at a time, you would eventually reach the bottom of the pit, but this would take a longer time. If you choose to take longer steps each time, you would reach sooner, but there's a chance that you could overshoot the bottom of the pit and not exactly at the bottom. Oh, sorry guys. Yeah. So not exactly at the bottom, remember. So in gradient descent algorithm, the number of steps you take is the learning rate. And this divides on how fast the algorithm converges to minima. So that is the pit. You can compare with the pit. How fast you reach the bottom of the pit. Okay, now let me explain you with a very good example. So guys, remember this formulas first. Those are like y is equal to mx plus c, that is the straight line equation. Then the slope, which is the summation of x minus mean of x, then y minus mean of y, divided by summation of x minus mean of x whole square. And the intercept, that would be y bar minus mx bar. I will be explaining you this. I will be taking an example with an Excel sheet, and then I will show you various points. Yep.
Pallav, there is just one question from Ijaz.
Yeah,
Can you take
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Yeah. So as A0, as I have told you, is the intercept, and A1 is the coefficient of x, you can say. So I will explain you with wait, or let me explain you here itself. So here, this you can compare B0 with A0 and A1 as the slope. So the slope that is with B1. So here, the intercept, the point of intersection with y-axis of the blue line, that is the best fit line, is called as intercept, and that is A0. And A1 is the slope, or the m value, or and A0 is the c value. Did you get, Ijaz? Correct. A0 is the intercept and A1 is the slope. Yeah. Okay. Any question, any guys?
Yeah, you can take it ahead, Pallab.
Okay. Fine. So I will be stopping. Okay. So yeah. So here I have taken various data points of X. That is 1, 2, means there are different points. I have taken as 6 to make to understand. And there is Y that is independent. I mean, Y is the dependent variable and X is the independent variable. The now is just simple. You have to take out X bar. That is the mean of the, I mean, like everyone can try it. If you are using a desktop or a laptop, you can like note down this and you can try by yourself if you want.
Are you sharing the Excel sheet, Pallab?
Yeah, I would share. You want me to share, or I
No,
will
I
share you
mean,
later? I haven't shared
I was
yet.
not able to. Okay, okay.
You are not
I was
able
not
to
able to
see.
see anything yet.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry for that. Okay.
Yeah, your screen is now visible.
Okay. Can you
Yeah.
see now? Yeah. I was into a different screen. Sorry. Thank you for letting me know.
Welcome.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So you can try it by yourself as well. It will be interesting, or you can see at the screen. So here X is the independent variable, and I have taken various data points, various values of X, and then Y is the dependent variable, where I have taken few points, few data points of Y as well. So now what we have to find is the mean, that is the X bar. So X bar would be like, as I have said, the total, the summation of X divided by the number of occurrence of X. So it would be calculated as 3. Okay, so then now what I have done is you have to do X minus X bar. That is 1 minus 3. Here 2 minus 3, like that. So we will get X minus X bar. Then similarly, we will do same for Y minus Y bar. So we will be taking out Y bar first. That is the summation of Y divided by number of occurrence of Y. So that would be like 2 minus 2.4, then 2 minus 2.4, so like that. So this is Y minus Y bar. Then now what next will be multiplying X minus X bar and Y minus Y bar. So it's just simple. You just multiply -2 into minus 0.4. That would be 0.8. So like that, you get all the values. And after that, you get the total occurrence would be 5. The summation would be 5. So why I have taken this, I will tell you later. Or because we have to find X minus X bar, Y minus X Y bar. As I have shown you in the slides, where we have to find the slope, that is M, or you can say A1 would be like summation of X minus X bar into Y minus Y bar by summation of X minus X bar whole square. So that's what I have. That's why I have taken X minus X bar into Y minus Y bar. So now similarly, I will be taking out the value of X minus X bar whole square. So for all the points, that is 2 into 2, 4, 1 into 1, 1. So like that. So here total number is 10. Okay. So now, so that's all. So after that, I have taken out M. So here M is in the formula as it's shown, summation of X minus X bar, Y minus Y bar. So summation of X minus X bar, Y minus Y bar would be 5. And summation of X minus X bar whole square would be 10. So that comes to as 0.5. Okay. Now coming to the intercept, that is C or A0. So here the formula was we have taken Y bar minus M X bar. So here y bar would be 12 and minus y bar minus mx bar. So m would be 0.5 into, that is x bar. X bar would be 15. So that comes to as 0.9. Okay. So now, so any questions till here?
If you are showing your slide, we cannot see because we can see the Excel sheet right now.
Yeah, I was only showing, no, slide as in like I already showed before. So the formulas which I had to show, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the one. This is the formulas where I have taken, yeah, you can see the slide right now.
Yeah, we can see that now.
Yeah, so here that is m value would be summation of x minus x bar into y minus y bar by summation of x minus x bar whole square. And c value is y bar minus m. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now let me go to the Excel sheet now.
Sure.
So now, so any questions still here? Anyone? I will be taking a 2-minute break. So anyone have any questions? Then we'll be finding out y cap or y hat, you can say. Just ask me any questions. Another 1 minute. Okay, Akash, Akshaya says is all clear. Okay.
I believe we can move ahead then.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So next we will be finding out the the prediction value or y hat. So y hat is simple, which is the formula itself, that is mx plus c. So here, if you have to find the y pred value or the y hat of the first data point, so you will be saying as that is mx1. So m value would be 0.5, x1 would be 1, then plus c, that is 0.9. So that's the formula. So if you say 0.5 into 1 plus c, that is 0.9. So it would come to as 1.4. So similarly, this would come to as 1.9, then 2.4, 2.9, 3.4. Okay. So this is the y pred values. Yeah. So now let me show you something. Let me show you with a graph. It would be easy for you guys to predict. So see, so these are the points. These are the points with respect to like x-axis and y-axis. Okay, guys. So you can see like there is no best fit line as of now. It's all scattered. Like it's near to the best fit line, but there is no best fit line. So what we have done to get the best fit line is we have taken out y pred or the y hat values. So if I include the y hat, oh, sorry guys. Do this. Okay. So here you can see we in the orange, that is we got the best fit line, correct? And as you can see over here, the intercept would be around, if you can extend it, it would be around 0.9. Okay. So this is what it is. Okay, any questions still here? Anyone? Then I will be moving to 30 seconds. Then I will be moving to the next slide.
Yeah, I believe we can move ahead now.
Okay.
Okay, there is one just question from Azaz. Can you take up that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the line, right? Which I showed you. Wait. Can you see my Excel sheet?
Not yet.
I cannot see.
Yeah, now we can see it.
Okay. So yeah, over here you can see the line in the orange. If you can extend it, sorry, I'm not that good at Excel actually. So, but then if you can extend the dotted line, if you can join all the dots over here in the orange, that would be our regression line. That is the best fit line. Okay, Jazz, which we have found out with the y pred value or the y hat values. And the lines in the blues are x, y values. Okay, he says okay. Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So let me share the slides now. So yeah. So now the very important thing to evaluate linear regression or any kind of regression is how best fits our model, etc. So you have to evaluate with various evaluation matrices. So first evaluation metric is R squared or coefficient of determination. So this is most commonly used metrics for model evaluation in regression analysis, and it can be defined as ratio of variation to the total variation. So the values of R squared lies between 0 to 1. So remember that. So values rise between 0 and 1, and the value closer to 1, the better the model. So if it's closer to 1, then the model will be good. We can justify as like our model is best fit, a good one. Okay. Then the formula, as you can see, is given as summation of actual values minus the prediction value whole square by summation of actual value minus the mean of y whole square. So we can find this easily. Okay, I will show you the R square. Just let me know. So let me know when you can see the screen, the Excel sheet.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Yeah. So here if we have to find out R square, you have, okay. So what is it? So that is the summation of y minus y prad whole square. So y minus y prad. So that would be equal to y minus y prad. Okay. So that is 0.6. So here we will get this y minus one. And sorry, this is not r square actually. This is, you can say, SSR. So SSR is summation of square of residuals. Okay. So next, not even SSR. We have to. This is not SSR. This is. So this is the SSR. This is the SSR values. Okay. Now comes, you have to find out the total summation of squares now. Okay, to find r square. So total summation would be, what is it? We have to find it as y minus y bar. So which is already we have y minus y bar. So now so TSS would be the summation of y minus y bar whole square. Okay. Yeah. Oh, this is the symbol. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So this is the SSR value, and this is the TSS value. Okay. So now what we have to do is we have to find r square. So r square would be, anyone got any answers? You can try yourself if anyone. You can ping me if anyone found the answer. This, so we got the R2 value as 0.48. So this is R square. Okay. Anyone got any answers? No, I think. Yep. Anvesh was trying. Good, Anvesh. Thanks. Yes, correct. So that's what SSR is said as summation of square of residuals. You say SSR, no RSS. Summation of square of residuals. Okay. Okay. So now let's go to our slides. Yep. So our next parameter or the next matrix is adjusted R square. So it is the improvement of R square actually. So the actually the drawback of R square is that the feature, if the feature increase, the value of R square also increases, and which gives the illusion of a good model. Okay, so remember that. So R square can be a trouble if there are multiple number of independent values or the X values or the coefficient of X. So which one? Not coefficient of X, the multiple values, independent values if there are. So the adjusted R square solves the drawback of R square, and it only considers the feature which are important for the model and shows the real improvement of the model. So always remember, adjusted R square is always lower than R square. So anyone wants to I will give you 1 minute if anyone wants to find anything, this adjusted R square. So I will give you 2 minutes.
Pallav, there is one question for you in the chat. Can you take up that?
Yeah, sure. Meanwhile, I will take up the question. If anyone wants to solve this or wants to find adjusted R square, that would be good. If anyone is doing. Nilotpal Mukherjee. Okay, Nilotpal, can you please elaborate the question a bit? I didn't get you. So that's what, like, you don't have to go deep into mathematics. If you just know the equations and all, that's far more enough. So you don't have, if you are later on when you are comfortable with it, you can take up the maths part. But then for learning the machine learning algorithms, you don't have to go deep into maths. You just have to have knowledge on various equations and all, which I have showed you. The equations which I have showed you is enough for learning linear regression analysis. How to prove and all you can do later on. Means if I have to explain you each and every equation over here, that would be time consuming because it's 1.5 hour session. So maybe on the later part of our events, we can go into that event. So that's all. You want it now? You can. I will share you. Sure, I will share you.
Yeah, the materials will be shared on the Slack directly.
Did anyone found adjusted R square values? So that would be homework for tomorrow. I will ask you tomorrow the value of adjusted R square. Okay. Anvesh says P question. So what is P? Didn't get you, Anvesh.
The number of predictors value is normally 5 that we have, right? I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the predictor values.
Yeah, there are two. That is, one is the actual predictor values, and that is Y, and the one which I have found out, that is Y hat. That is the prediction values. So number of features is totally different. That is X and Y. So those are the features. So independent feature and dependent feature. So X would be independent and Y would be dependent. Did I clear your question?
Yeah, there is another
Yes.
question over there.
So yes, correct. That is the original data. No. Sorry. The number of predictors, as in how many predictors you have. I mean, let me show.
Pallav, maybe you can just take up on this Excel sheet, and maybe that could help.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, you will be getting a positive number as well because it's what you say. It's squared, right? Yeah. So
Pallav, you can explain Urjit's
yeah.
question, that number of original data point. I mean, what is P value?
I'm doing. Wait. I will be solving the. I will be getting the task first. Okay. So this is we can say 1. And would be how many samples we have? 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So 5 minus 1. Okay. Now 5 minus how many predictors we have? So okay. 9 minus 1.
Because there is 5 minus and there is no value after that.
Yeah. There is some mistake on it. Okay, guys, let me get back to you on this tomorrow.
No worries, no worries. You
yeah.
you can take your time.
So yeah, that's Bhargav says one. So let me see. It's 1.9. So that's not the correct one. The p value is different, actually. Let me get back to you tomorrow on this. Sorry.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, you can move ahead on that.
Okay. So next is MSE mean squared error, which I have told you earlier. That is 1 by n of summation. 1 by n would be the number of occurrence with summation of y minus y prad whole square. And root mean squared is RMSE with root over of MSE. So this is so MSE is actually another common evaluation mean squared error, which is the mean of the square difference of the actual versus predicted values. And root of MSE is the root of MSE, that is root of the mean difference of actual and predicted values. So the best value of RMSE would be between 0.2 to 0.5. So remember that. Okay. Okay, Rupsha, like I will get back to this tomorrow. Okay. So now there are various applications of linear regressions. Those are like sales forecasting. We can use for sales forecasting, then for risk analysis, then housing applications to predict the prices and other factors, and then in finance application to predict stock prices, investment evaluation, etc. So the basic idea behind linear regression is to find the relationship between the independent and independent variables. So it is used to get the best fit line. Okay. So now there are various advantages of linear regression. So linear regression performs exceptionally well in linear separable data and easier to implement, interpret, and efficient to train. And next is it handles overfitting pretty well using dimensionality reduction techniques, regularizations, and cross validations. And even one more advantage is that the exploration beyond statistic data sets. So those are the advantages of linear regressions. And there are a few disadvantages of linear regressions. Those are like the assumptions of linearity. So between independent and dependent variables. So it's a very important thing, like assumption of linearity. Like sometimes independent and dependent variable may not be like linear. So we had to be careful on that before selecting a linear regression algorithm for our algorithms or for our machine learning algorithms. Okay. And then it's quite often prone to noise and overfitting. Then linear regression is quite sensitive to outliers, and it's even prone to multi-collinearity. So those are the advantages and disadvantages of linear regression. Next, coming to assumptions of linear regressions. So like first is, as I have told you, linearity. So it states that the dependent variable y should be linearly related to independent variable. So, so this assumption can be checked by plotting a scatter plot between both variables. Now comes normality. So normality of x and y variables should be normally distributed. Okay, so we can check that with histogram, then KDE plots, QQ plots, etc. So then comes like and even we can treat normality problem. We can transform the variables to the normal distribution using various transformation functions such as log transformations, reciprocal or box-Cox transformations, etc. And Next, assumptions be homozydicity. So the variance of error terms should be constant. That is, the spread of residual should be constant for all values of x. Okay. These assumptions can be checked by plotting a residual plot. So it is actually assumptions is violated, then the points will form a funnel shape. Otherwise, they would be constant. Okay. Then comes like independence on no multi-collinearity. So this is another assumptions of linear regressions. So in this, like the variables should be independent of each other. That is, there shouldn't be any correlation should be there between the dependent variables. So there shouldn't be like any correlation with all the independent variables. Okay. To check this in assumption, we can use a correlation matrix or VIF score. We can plot it, we can check, we can even use a heat map to check the correlations. Next is the error term should be normally distributed. Okay, so we can check that with QQ plots and histograms. And then another one is no autocorrelation. So this is another assumption. So the error terms should be independent of each other. So autocorrelation can be tested during the Durbin-Watson test. The null hypothesis assumes that there is no autocorrelation. So the value of the test lies between 0 to 4. If the value of the test is 2, then there is no autocorrelation. So remember this. So I would say like how you deal with multi-collinearity. So like first you can like if two independent variables are multi-collinear, so what we can do is like we can do nothing first of all. So if there are no major differences in the accuracy, we can do that, or even we can like remove the highly correlated independent variable, one of highly correlated independent variables. Okay, we can do that. So this is the theory part of linear regression. And thank you. Tomorrow I will be showing you the Python implementation with different with a salary data set. So that's all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pallav, for this wonderful explanation also.
Okay.
But yeah, and I believe if you guys have any more questions for Pallav or anything like that, do let us know. And we are up for like next 15 to 20 minutes, so that we'll be taking up a lot of questions now. It's up to you guys. Keep on asking questions and we're here to answer them. Yeah. No, Anvesh, we won't be using AutoML software for that for now. We'll be using either Google Colab for the modeling and or either Jupyter Notebook. So we'll show a live demo. You can say the code will be, everything will be there, and we'll run up the file and explain the complete code. Okay, sure. Thank you.
Any questions, guys? So yeah, tomorrow, like I will be showing you if anyone finds the answer for adjusted R-square, we will discuss tomorrow, or else I will show you tomorrow. Okay, guys?
Yeah, there is one question from Ijaz.
Yeah, y hat is different, y bar is different. Y bar is the mean value of the values of y, and y hat is the prediction value of y.
Yeah, maybe you can show that using the Excel sheet once.
Yeah, sure. So here, as you have seen, I have shown you. So this is 12 would be over here. 12 would be the y bar. No, sorry. That is 2.4 would be y bar, and prediction y hat would be different. That is 1.4. It's the mx plus c formula which we have done. We have found out m. We have found out c. So with that, with the help of that formula, we have got the prediction value of y.
Is that clear, Ajaz? Okay, perfect. Thank you. There is another one in the question and answers. Can you please explain gradient descent and regularization with respect to regression?
So, okay. So like what exactly you want? Do you want me to explain you about gradient descent again? Because gradient descent is a huge thing. If I have to go deep into that, it would take another 1.5 hours. So.
Yeah, just a basic idea of gradient descent,
So,
like why does it affect gradient descent, like why it is taken into consideration? That would help.
Yes, sure. So like as I've told you, gradient descent to find out the means gradient descent is particularly used to update or iterate the values of A0 and A1. That is the intercept and the slope. So to get the best fit line, we should use cost function and gradient descent. And gradient descent is found out with the help of gradient of cost functions, which we can find out with the partial derivatives. So this is another mathematical related to calculus.
Can you switch to your presentation, the formula of the gradient descent?
No, I haven't shown the formula of gradient descent. If anyone wants,
no
then
worries.
I can show you. I can give you the formula tomorrow. But I intentionally didn't show the formula because like a lot of people might panic seeing the formulas and all.
Yeah, I think that is a big formula.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
because it involves all alpha values. That is the learning rate and the partial derivatives and all. It might shock.
Correct. So Indrapreet, I guess if you would like to deep dive into the gradient descent and regularization, I think we can. I can send you a book about that. There is a particular book for that, and that explains completely about the gradient descent and regularization for the regression model. So I think that should help you out. I'll share that on the Slack in the common channel. That should help all of you also. Yeah, I'll be sharing that on Slack. I'll share that book on Slack specifically on the general channel. That should help. Thank you. Yeah. So in order to get started, I just wanted to convey this thing. As I think Vishal had a question back then, that in order to understand the linear regression, we don't need to deep dive into a lot of mathematical formulas and a lot of partial derivatives, or say ordinal derivatives, or you can say a lot of calculus and all. Just the basic idea that I think Pallab had described this very nicely on the Excel sheet. This is the basic idea of how.
Yeah, that's what like if you go dig deep into formulas and all, you would start maybe like initial period. If you are a newbie or you like started learning machine learning, you go with just the formulas. Don't try to get stuck with the formulas, why it's happening and what is the mathematics behind it. So don't go into that. Maybe later part when you are acquainted with machine learning algorithms, then you can go and dig deep into those formulas. So for the time being, you can just get the formulas, know the basic understanding of the formulas, and then you are good to go. You can implement it.
Yeah, I think that should be much more helpful for others also. Just if you have a basic knowledge, like what are the data points are happening and what is the best fit line, what is the intercept, what the slope is, that is sufficient enough for you to get started.
I think Python have like really helped us. Like there are a lot of libraries like sklearn. With sklearn, we can like implement all the linear regression formulas. So that is the best part. Even if you don't like know the actual formulas, means the mathematics behind all the formulas, you can even write your own codes of formulas. So you just have to know like what is happening and all. It's just that.
Yeah, definitely. That of course involves a lot of Python programming. You should know a lot of Python
Yeah.
programming
So
in order to write those codes.
yeah,
But
that's
everything is
correct.
available on
Yeah,
the sklearn part.
and that is out of the scope of this session actually.
Yeah. Not the sklearn part, but the major
Not the
coding part.
sklearn, but yeah, like if you have to write an algorithm and all.
Yeah, I think we'll be discussing that tomorrow. So that will be a wonderful session tomorrow also.
Yeah, correct.
I am excited to see how like people can easily understand the sklearn part. I think salary data set and that should work out because that's very easy and we can share it.
We have only two variables. That is the dependent and the independent, X and Y. So it would be great. It's just the experience. There will be one column which would be experience that would be counted as independent. And with the help of the experience, we will find out the person's salary, which is Y, or the salary column.
Just 1 second, I'll answer. Yeah, Shivam, we already have uploaded the recordings of the earlier sessions. It is available on Newton AI's platform, I mean the YouTube channel, as well as on my YouTube channel. So you can go ahead and see that. And if in case you are already available on a Slack channel, I'll share both the links once again. I have shared one of the posts today on my LinkedIn page where all the links are available to the YouTube channel link and Newton AI's YouTube channel link. So that is available on LinkedIn as well. You can connect with Pallab on LinkedIn also. On LinkedIn as well as on Slack also, if you have any kind of doubt with regards to the linear regression and all.
Vishal, so what is your math query? I didn't get it.
Yeah, he had a query about maths that like, do we need to understand a lot of maths in order to get answered for you know, the linear regression part or say any of the calculus part. So I think I cleared that out earlier.
Yeah, correct. We already cleared. Like you don't have to know or dive into maths. Just like you just know the formulas. That's pretty enough thing. If you want to go in the later part, like research and all, so of course you need to know a lot of maths on that, lot of algorithms, the maths behind all the algorithms. But then to implement those algorithms, you don't have to know much about those formulas.
So there is one question from Inderpreet Kaur. Is it possible to have multiple inputs? Is there any difference seen?
Yeah, that's what multilinear regression is called. So over there we will have multiple variables, multiple independent variables. So in real-time scenarios, we will always have multiple independent variables or the multiple inputs to get the target values or the dependent values.
Yeah. So in case if you would require some kind of multiple you know, linear regression models, I can send you a file on that on the Slack. So that should help you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are up for next five more minutes. So if you guys have any kind of question, you can definitely let us know. We are here to answer them always.
Yeah. You can always ping me over my LinkedIn. I can.
Yeah, sure. You can
try to answer. Yeah, I can answer whatever I can.
Yeah. Do you want me to share your LinkedIn ID over here?
Yeah, let me share it.
Yeah. Okay. Please do. Yeah, just a moment, Inderpreet.
Yeah. So this is my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, I think I shared both of it together. So I think this should help with all the queries. If you guys already have any more queries, do let us know. Okay, I was in the middle of ML learning, but I was stuck at choose platform where we have a lot of like you said, sklearn, PyTorch, and TensorFlow. But
learning else.
Okay, I'll take up this question on this from Vishal. So Vishal, basically now, if you're stuck in between of any on any of these platforms, these are basically libraries. Okay,
Yeah.
so PyTorch is a library instead of it's a TensorFlow and not TensorFlow.
Yeah, let me say this PyTorch and TensorFlow,
please.
it comes in deep learning. It's not into like machine learning. It will be a part of deep learning. So for what I say is like first be acquainted with sklearn. So there are various libraries with sklearn. It's a good libraries which you can use to implement all. I mean all except XGBoost. I think all the libraries can be like implemented with sklearn, right? All the supervised, unsupervised machine learning algorithms you can implement with sklearn. So those are like I think for tomorrow classes. Tomorrow class, I think you can be clear like what are the uses of sklearn. I can like show you how to like import those sklearn libraries and implement in various like how to create a test split and how to import an algorithm, linear regression algorithm. I will show you tomorrow. So just wait for tomorrow. So
yeah, and I would add to that, Vishal, you won't need to learn PyTorch and TensorFlow for the machine learning as of now. If you're just starting your career into machine learning, scikit-learn, sklearn is sufficient enough to get everything on a platter. So I think sklearn is the best option for now. Once you decide to go for deep learning or say AI or something like that, TensorFlow and PyTorch may be useful over there, depending on what you are choosing.
Yeah. So
does that answer your question, Vishal?
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
So do we have more questions? We'll have 2 minutes more. If anyone wants to ask any question.
Yeah, we'll be taking 2 minutes more and then we'll be
ending
for today.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think if we don't have any more questions, I think we can wait till tomorrow for the practical sessions. And thank you all of you to join for today's session. And thank you, Pallab, so much for such a wonderful explanation and the making machine learning so simple.
It's again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Satish.
Same time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah.